You guys won't believe what I saw my very first time scuba diving in Bali. Well, very first time scuba diving ever. But it's in Bali. Y'all, that is a shark. I swam with a shark. To be honest, I didn't even realize that was a shark at the time, which thank goodness, or I would have been panicking even more than I was off and on the whole time anyway. This was my favorite part. Look at this sea turtle. It's just swimming majestically over to us. It's beautiful. Alo, apa kabar? Suksuma for stopping by. We appreciated you. By the way, translation, alo apa kabar means hello, how are you in Indonesian, which I learned this from Duolingo. My friend who's here in the video with me is a Duolingo pro and introduced me to this free app where you can pick up the basics on a ton of different languages. So Indonesian is one of those languages, so I decided to pick up some basics. But unfortunately, Balinese is not on there, which is its own separate language. I did learn suksema means thank you in Balinese. So that's why I told the turtle suksema. By the way, what you are looking at is the remains of a United States Army transport ship called the Liberty that was torpedoed in 1942 by a Japanese submarine. We are in Tulamben. This is Bali's most visited dive spot. For 21 years, the ship was just chilling on the shores of Bali. But in 1963, there was a huge volcano eruption, and it pushed the ship underwater. And it's been there ever since. So it's only 50 meters from the beach. It's quite close, quite convenient for divers to get down there and see. The shipwreck is 120 meters long, and the water can get as deep as 29 meters down. I think this ship was the coolest part of diving because it's really impressive to me how the coral and the marine life just grew on top of the ship, and now there's so much life surrounding it. Just a reminder, this was my very, very first time scuba diving, and I didn't and I still don't know what I'm doing. You are not supposed to use your hands because that makes you more tired, is what I hear, but nobody told me this, so I'm just flailing around. Oh, there's my friend. He's the one who invited me to come. He is a scuba diving pro. He has dived somewhere between 100 and 200 times. Crazy to me, but he loves it, and he loves taking photos and videos under the sea. A great shot of these yellow Nemos, am I right? They are adorable. So this footage is getting closer to the beginning of the dive. I will let you know I was very scared to go underwater. It took me 3 or 4 attempts before I finally started to relax enough to let the guide bring me down under with him. And so at first the guide was holding my hand to make me feel more comfortable and make sure that I didn't get lost, that kind of thing. But then the guide took the camera from my friend so that he could film us. And so my friend took his spot holding my hand and making sure I felt comfortable and that I wouldn't float away or anything, which was very important to me because I was terrified. So the scary thoughts were actually more when they stopped to take a photo of something and kind of wanted me to stop and look at whatever they were looking at. But if I wasn't swimming, I was having not good thoughts, like thoughts of drowning or my mask flying off and me panicking. So when they would stop, I would just swim around them in circles and keep moving, because as long as I was moving, I felt like I was okay. Some other things I can tell you about my experience as a first-time scuba diver was that my throat felt very dry, and that's because of that oxygen that we breathe in is very dry, and you can only breathe through your mouth. So yeah, and I still, even a couple days after, still feel like I have kind of a dry throat. By the end of the dive, I was kind of having a bit of a headache or just extra pressure in my head and my ears. I stayed under for almost an hour. It was 50 some minutes. So I thought that was pretty good for my first time diving. Thankfully, I didn't get any kind of ear infection, which I learned after the fact is a possibility because apparently microbes can get into your ear and give you an ear infection. So that's why my friend's actually wearing a diver's cap over his head. Parts of the dive were really scary, but parts of the dive were really cool. So overall, I'm very happy that I went, and I feel super thankful to my friend and the guide for showing me around and keeping me safe, and for getting all of this awesome footage. Who knows if I'll ever go scuba diving again, but even if I don't, holy crap, they pretty much got my whole dive on camera. Now I have these memories for life. Now we can talk about after scuba diving for the first time. Make sure you hydrate and make sure you eat, but don't eat something new for the first time. Maybe eating Indonesian food wasn't the best meal for me to have right after a dive, because apparently diving can already cause some gastrointestinal issues, if you know what I mean. By the end of the night, I was very tired and I slept so good. And I learned that scuba diving burns a lot of calories, not just because you're busy swimming underwater, but also simply because of the pressure changes requires more, you to burn more calories. As this video footage is now ending, stay tuned. I'm going to show you some photos that my friend took with his underwater camera. This is some kind of crab. I'm sorry, I don't know the names of all of these, but it's actually very small, but he got really close and got some really good photos. He's really good at that, and he enjoys doing this very much. By the way, this one, I believe, is called a skeleton shrimp. And the next one that's about to come on screen is called a nudie branch. That's this one right here. This is a nudie branch, and it's actually his favorite one to shoot. What do you think? Have you been scuba diving? How many times? Would you go back again? Was it a positive experience or a negative experience? I am curious to know. Spill the beans. Put it down in the comments. Let me know. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe, and also you can check out my TikTok and my Instagram for more travel footage.